Hi everyone, it's Natalie here. Welcome. I did record a little update video, and I don't know if I'll put it out before this one or after, just to update everybody and offer my gratitude to all of you for just for such beautiful, nurturing, and nourishing, compassionate, supportive comments that were made, and the incredible emails that were sent and messages. It was just, it wasn't even that they were epic in nature. The majority were just, "Hey, are you okay? Is there anything I can do?" And just knowing that has been tremendous. And part of the process for me is going to be getting back to everybody and acknowledging all of the comments and replying, but at any rate, thank you. Thank you. So I'm really happy to be back reading. Yesterday, my dad's 80th birthday was the party was taking place, so I was occupied with a lot of that, and so the readings aren't happening until today, which is Sunday, but that's fine. I would say, I'd rather be on the edge of getting them done than not get them done at all. And I'm just happy to be here, and all of it. So, all right. So that said, we're looking at the mode divination for the week starting the 29th of August through, Lord of mercy, the 4th of September. I can't even believe how far along we've gotten. It's incredible. Yeah, all right. So with that, let's start the practice. Om Arapatsana Di, Om Arapatsana Di, Om Arapatsana Di, Om Arapatsana Di, Om Arapatsana Di. Om Yetai Mahe Tuprabawa, Hikin Taken Ayo Wakat Taken Sayo Niroda, Ewa Mwadi Mahashona Soha. Okay, so that done, let's have a look at what kind of outer conditions we can expect for the week to come. Okay, so the first one we have is Ra. So Ra is related to fire. It is heat, fire, the throat, the color red, which I know is antithetical to anyone who's studied in a more traditional Vedic system of chakras, but the throat in Tibetan Buddhism is red, the throat center. So it also relates to speech, it relates to the voice, it relates to a certain amount to communication, to passions, things that we are excited about. And like fire, I mean, depending on what other influences with it and how that combines, it could be the kind of fire that's helpful to us, or a kind of fire that has potential for destruction. So let's look at what the inner influence is here. So okay, so Ra Na. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. Na is I think Na is an earth. I'm struggling to recall off the top of my head. It's like, oh, I know lots about the syllable Na, and none of them want to come to mind, which is about right. This is how it's been lately. So, let's see. Yeah, so Ra Na. I couldn't remember if Ra is air or earth. Or sorry, if Na is air or earth. I think that Na is I think Na is earth. So this gives us a dried up earth, right? Too much heat scorches the earth and there's no water in it, right? So we have the dried up tree. If Ra Na, the tree that is not wet, appears, then we know that there will be no result whatsoever, just as no fruit will come from a dried up tree. Great fun. Sorry. This is just how it comes, you know? This is just how it comes. I did see, when I saw, when I saw Manjushri in my meditation, there was extra fire. But he didn't seem especially wrathful. There was just a lot of extra fire around him. So there are, I did just go back through some of the meanings at the beginning of the book, which are not very easily organized. I have a way of organizing them that makes more sense to me. But yeah, Na is earth. I was right about that. So Na is earth. But Na also represents, as earth, you know, it represents the body. So we're looking at a lot of fire running through the body. I would say that's going to give us a tendency towards some dehydration, running out of fuel, feeling easily exhausted. You know, we'll see what the book brings, but when I look at the combination of these two factors, you know, what we say, right? So speech and voice and words are what are ruled by Ra, and the body is ruled by Na. So what we speak, what we say this week, the way that we conceptualize or use our voices and sound is going to have a greater influence on the way we feel about our bodies. So that's something to be aware of, I think. Yeah, that just occurred as something I thought, wow, it feels important. It feels important. Because self-nourishment is going to be a challenge under these circumstances. This is the kind of fire that dries everything up and scorches it. So be careful. Be careful about the words that you speak and the kind of impact it might have on someone else in a way that you don't see, right? The outer influence and the inner influence. So as you speak words about something, be aware that it might impact the way someone else feels about their body in a time period or in a moment where that's something we're going to feel uncomfortable about. We're going to feel more susceptible to those influences. Yeah. So the sign of this divination is proclaimed by the Gandharva, or the smell-eating being, the messenger of the demon Mara, who resides in the southeast, who said, since one's mind is always afflicted, one's wishes are never achieved. So this is suffering. Now that's very interesting. That is a very interesting idea. So what they're saying is that basically the essence of this particular divination could be summed up by a messenger demon who runs around proclaiming that since everyone's mind is always afflicted, your wishes are never going to be achieved, and so this is suffering, right? Interesting. So if you're someone striving for better health, if you're someone striving for a better relationship to your body, if you're trying to take better care of yourself in any way, be careful about your thoughts. Be careful about the words you speak. because the demon, the demon messenger is really just the thoughts in our own mind. Okay, so the thoughts that we have that cycle around that tell us that we're bad, or that we're never going to get anywhere, that we're not worthy of doing better, that the fact that we haven't done better is evidence of our lack of worth, those kinds of things, they're not true. But that doesn't mean that the experience of them is not visceral, real, and destructive. Okay, so be very, very aware of that for yourself and for others in the coming week. So how does this affect family, property, and life? Though there are no faults for the time being, in the future these matters will not go very well. Therefore, overall, the outlook is simply mediocre. Okay, so the effect of this on family, property, and life is just mediocre. It's nothing major. And really, there aren't any faults right now. It says in the future these matters will not go very well. Based on what? We don't know. It just kind of, it's hard to pin it down. Intentions and aims. Being like a fire that suddenly flares up and then sputters out, they're difficult to accomplish. So that's interesting. When I think of the way creative impulses often hit me, they often do that. They will hit like a, big flame of inspiration of something like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then just as quickly they can, they're like a fart in a frying pan. They just go and they're done. Then I can't even remember what it was. So that we may find that a lot of intentions and aims in the coming week they just don't go anywhere. We keep having the intention or the aim to get something done. It just doesn't happen, right? Other stuff interrupts us. So again, we want to be compassionate around that. Okay. Friends and wealth. There are none whatsoever. I don't know. Maybe just not a week where we're able to feel or experience anything where those things are concerned. All depends on how you define friend or wealth as well. Enemies. Although there are minor enemies, they're unable to cause you great harm. So yeah, the fire gets scorched and burnt out quickly. All the steam rises and goes away, and there's just not much they can do. Guests. Since the visitors will be tired and weary on their journey, there will be some delay in their arrival. That makes a lot of sense. Illness. Although you will temporarily suffer from a bilious disorder, it will not be harmful to you. I would think that in certain time and place, bilious disorder would have been fairly common. You get a bacteria or something in your system that your body says, whoa, you're not coming in here and invading, and suddenly before you know it, you're vomiting. Food poisoning, that kind of thing would have been pretty, that would have been pretty likely. So be aware of that, if there's anything kind of like if you think of it as a volcano, that makes a lot of sense, right? Fire coming up out of the earth. So, yeah. Evil spirits. Through attachment to ancestors or relatives who have died, trouble is arising, but no harm will result. Through compassion, you should perform some rituals to repay your debt of kindness to deceased relatives. Further, as you have broken your wealth relationship with the local earth and earth gods, you should recite the Suvarna Prabha Sutra and various wealth propitiating rituals. It's good to accumulate merits, and also it is important to rectify disturbances caused by earth spirits whom you previously agitated. That's really interesting. So a chud practice for me would, in my tradition, would take care of a lot of that, right? A few of them, and making more offerings would also help. Wow, I probably have actually broken my wealth relationship with the local and earth gods. That actually, for me, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I can feel that being a real thing. I also feel a need to offer offer rituals to repay the debt of kindness to deceased relatives. That to me feels very very real at this moment too. I'm not familiar with the Suvarna Prabha Sutra, but I'll guarantee you I'm going to be looking that one up because I'm very curious about it. Yeah, that sounds like a wise thing. Um, if I happen to look that up, I will, and it's something recitable and not 150 pages long. I will put a link to it or put it into the description box below. All right, so the spiritual practice aspect. Having too many wishes, it is hard for you to accomplish all of them, just as it's difficult for a child to catch a rainbow. Yeah, I mean, that's not wrong. That would not be a wrong thing for me, in truth. Lost article, it has been stolen and hidden by another, so it will be difficult to recover. That's too bad. Will they come and will the task be accomplished? Since your wishes are influenced by others, your activities are like dreams, so it will be difficult to see the results of achievement. That's interesting. Since your wishes are influenced by others, your activities are like dreams, so it'll be difficult to see the results. Yeah, I think when we have goals that we set, which are not in harmony with something that we want for ourselves, but rather stem from a need to please someone else, that makes a lot of sense. It's not going to go well. Yeah. All remaining matters, they are not good. These are not good, especially any inquiry regarding the wish to obtain happiness or a special article has a very unfavorable prognosis. Postponing a task will bring benefit. Interesting. Rituals which could be performed to alleviate the problem are the recitation of the 10 Wheels of Ksitigarbha, and mantras or dharanis for increasing wealth and livelihood, such as, again, the Suvarna Prabha Sutra, recitation of the Manjushri root tantra, and the like is also good. This prediction is known as essenceless and inconceivable. So, interesting. I've never seen Ksitigarbha spelled Kshi. So I pronounced it Ksitigarbha, but I think it's actually, I've always seen it as Ksitigarbha. Which in Tibetan practice or in Korean Tibetan, what am I saying? Korean Zen culture, we referred to him as Jijang Bosal. So, interesting. But I'm unfamiliar with the 10 Wheels of. So, yeah, wow, what an interesting prediction for the coming week. I'll be very curious to hear if this sounds like something that is in keeping with what, if it's familiar, if it sounds like something that you might be prone to dealing with. It's temporary. I think we're just going to all kind of have to get by with the sense that we're not going to accomplish as much as maybe we wanted to in the coming week. Because there are a lot of obstacles and the conditions are just unfavorable for growth. And keeping in mind that we're in a growth-related culture, right, where we constantly have to be growing and making things better and doing, sometimes just holding the status quo and being compassionate about that has to be enough. So that's probably where we are. But it would be wise to keep an eye on finances and money. And again, anything that we want to do that increases prosperity or wealth in terms of making offerings or doing recitations, those are going to be also favored this week. Definitely something I need to keep in mind. So I'll be working on that. All right, folks, thank you so much. And I will see you again for the tarot reading shortly. Okay. Have a beautiful week. Bye.